First, we have 2 days. The first one, International Delegates Day, and the second is International Chernobyl Disaster Remembrance Day. The Delegates Day in 5 of April each year. Interested by the peoples of the world. Delegates bring the United Nations to life. Without them, this organization would not be what it is. They negotiate agreements and coordinate with their home countries. Some from aliens, others struggle for compromise. In that way, they embody the multilateralism which the UN stands for. They are also found in the UN Security Council, UN General Assembly. This was established since the establishing of the UN General Assembly in 25 of April in 1945, as we see in the background. The International Delegates Day marks the anniversary of the first day of the San Francisco Conference, also known as the United Nations Conference on the International Organization, on 25 of April in 1945. We have the resources here, the documents. We have events related, the United Nations Day, International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace, International Day of Parliamentarism, International Day of Democracy. Let's see this video. Check it.
Developed into a vigorous and cosmopolitan center of commerce and culture, and of industry and shipping for the war in the Pacific. And for 9 weeks in the spring of 1940, together, machinery to end war, a curse which in 30 years had killed 40 million human beings.
Delegates to the United Nations Conference on International Organization. It is not the purpose of this conference to draft a treaty of peace in the old sense of that term. This
هو يوم المندوبين
Shanghai
الدولي.
Delegates.
Delegates اللي هي المندوبين.
The hopes of the living and the dead were concentrated in the hands of the representatives meeting at San Francisco.
هم دول
Together they
مندوبين.
organized the huge problem ahead of them. To fulfill the mutual responsibilities of nations as set forth in the Charter, to bring about free world trade and the full employment of man's productive resources, men and women of goodwill everywhere must come to know and understand one another. Unity against a common enemy.
موجودين برضو ال representatives دول or delegates في ال Security Council. هم بي negotiate about the wars and the conflicts between
But
countries.
in their wake, the Germans left horror and devastation, a specter of fascism and the price of total war, which would haunt civilization for decades to come. This machinery was not designed without disagreement and dispute, but the final blueprint had the unanimous approval of the participating delegates.
And it is now my duty, my honor and my privilege in the
All those are great representatives or delegates, each one representing his country
of the Charter
or her country.
of the United Nations, to rise in their places and be good enough to remain standing while they're counted.
Charter, opening with the words, "We, the people of the United Nations, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, which twice in our lifetime has brought untold sorrow to mankind."
This is the conference of 24th of April 1945. Video about this conference.
In race and religion, in language and culture. But these differences...
Let's go to useful websites. We have their own member states. We have the resources of delegates. We have the United Nations Youth Delegate Program. If you are young and would like to join these tasks or jobs of delegates, of representative of your country, you have to read about this article, and you can join this website. This website is very important. I will put the link of it in the description below. How to become a youth delegate? Yes, this is wfuna.org. This show you who you contact in your country. So if I select Egypt here, this is the leadership manager, or the managers are who are, and this is the phone number who you contact to know if there is contest, if there is arrangement, some arrangement courses you take for to joining the your foreign ministry and to be a representative of your country. Let's go back to get the other day, which is Chernobyl Day. Chernobyl Day is in April of 26, so previous to April. And then select the International Chernobyl Disaster Remembrance Day. And here we have the logo of this remembrance of Chernobyl explosion. So an explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in 1986 spread a radioactive cloud over large parts of the Soviet Union. Now the territories of Belarus, Ukraine, and the Russian Federation. Nearly 8.5 million people in the three countries were exposed to this radiation and affected by this explosion or radiation. So the recent developments, we have also here the Chernobyl in UN news. We can go here directly and see this website. Check this website for the Chernobyl in UN news, and maybe we can also remember this event or this explosion by click on this YouTube video and watch it. Samples, it's on it.
Although hundreds of thousands have been evacuated, some people are still living in the area despite medical warnings. Like this, that are highlighted in a new report by the World Health Organization. Working with Soviet authorities, the WHO has concluded that anxiety levels are actually increasing half a decade after the disaster. People are now more worried about virtually every category of people affected by Chernobyl, according to Kiev blood specialist Dr. Vladimir Babes. These radiation victims are receiving treatment at the Kiev clinic, but facilities like this are limited. Like many in the contaminated area, patients are learning to live with the long-term effects of radiation. Fireman Ivan Hudeli helped remove water from under the damaged reactor. He was exposed to at least 4 times the recommended maximum lifetime dose.
Thousand people may eventually die from radiation exposure caused by the nuclear plant disaster, said the summary of a 2-day Chernobyl forum. Spearheaded by the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, the forum has brought together nuclear, health and development experts who finally about the threat of radiation, resulting in paralyzing fatalism among the residents of affected areas. Shifting programs away from just paying benefits to creating opportunities for development, particularly in the rural areas that degraded due to social and economic repression, is highly recommended. While some areas remain highly contaminated and restricted, the majority of declared unfit for living. They were relocated after the accident, but eventually returned home, joining the ranks of a...
This is the United Nations Chernobyl page. This all other links, and the Ukraine war could create widespread food insecurity. Awareness fell because the Russian-Ukrainian war maybe affected this Chernobyl factory nowadays, or radiation become okay. Thanks for watching these videos. I will put the links, important put you links. If you like this video, like it and share it with your colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe in the channel to receive every new video upload.